Good morning, everybody. Another profile pop-up, this time for Shaju. What I want to focus on today is recommend your projects to project your future jobs. Now, what do I mean by that? He had almost 70 times the word project in his profile. And I thought, I started seeing it a lot, and I thought, well, let me just open it up on the desktop, and I expanded everything, and almost 70 times. It's pretty impressive. It's just, that's the way your profile is laid out, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's definitely something that shows that's what you're focused on as projects. Even if I scroll all the way down here to your projects section, you've got 17 listed. And that's wonderful. I mean, that shows how active you've been, what you've been involved in, and maybe you could even leverage not only that, but my original thinking was on recommendations. If you notice here, the recommendations are also way at the bottom. You've got 2 of them here from a former manager, which is awesome, and another person here, right here, a consultant. So these are great. Take even just pieces of this, 1,000 workforce that you did, the acting manager around a year. These are awesome. These are awesome recommendations. But LinkedIn, even if you download the PDF, doesn't show you the recommendations. So use that in the summary to project yourself forward in all of your projects. So mention the fact that you've got over 17 projects, 17 years, and here are some of my recommendations. That might be another way to spice up your summary here. And the other thing I would suggest is be careful on the amount of times that you're using. When you use this many times, the check mark, the symbols, especially on the desktop, it turns to green. It can be a little bit distracting and take away. I've done the same thing myself exactly. I've literally used that same symbol, check mark. But that might be better reserved for accomplishments. When you managed 100 people, you're on a 100-person project, and you successfully completed it in a year. That would be great to have down here instead of these asterisks as check marks. The other thing, of course, just a typical little thing, but get a little break here on the summary. Open this up so that you've got a paragraph, and then have some of these check marks or the actual bullet mark, whatever you want to use. But don't have it all be one continuous flow of text like that. That way it'll be easier to read. And what I want to show you too is on a desktop you see this a little bit better. You're missing out on a few words here, not many. And I just would caution that, make sure that what this says right here on the part we see right here is enough to grab and pull people in. Give that a little bit more thought. Maybe the 17 years, over 17 projects, successfully completed. Wow, right off that bat, you're giving them a bullet, if you will, an accomplishment. Because if I open this up, when you end right here on the desktop, you see it better, but you actually hit the carriage return, and you made a new line to go over here. When you do that, you're missing out on a few more words. If you can, kind of like you did up here, get the bullet in there and start right off, and you'll get a little bit more of that right here. And we might see one of these bullets. We'd be able to see it in the summary. So otherwise, getting a little bit more focus maybe on the headline about projecting yourself forward. What do you see yourself as? I would like to suggest about 3 terms in the headline if you can. What are you actually looking for? What are you great at? What I call it is a taglines, talents, and targets. And other than that, again, the same little bit of advice here. When you open up your positions, if I open up one of these, notice right here I don't see those bullets. It's hard to kind of read that. And even if I do this show more, in some cases it goes on and on with a lot of text. What I'd like you to do, though, is break that up a little bit and use maybe not a check mark, but use a standard bullet. That would be wonderful, and it would be a lot easier to read. But you've got a lot of great content here talking about, who you reported to, that you were responsible for certain things. Again, the typical advice here is get more results. Get those checkmark bullets in here wherever you can. $, pound sign, and %sign. Get those in there and show the results, the projects. Here again, for example, here's the word project. What did you do on that project? You were a project manager. You assisted, you handled, you attended. You planned, what did you do, though, if you can, get a concrete result of what you did in those projects. And you do that, get that in here, and get people clicking and tapping, and draw them in, and you're going to be having a wonderful profile, even better than what you have already. So hopefully that helps, Shaju. Hope you have a great day.